Well, I'm back, and I'm here with a video that's really just as much for me as it is for you guys. I'm going to help teach you guys how to be a better runner as an average runner. Now, these really aren't secrets. These are just 3 things that I'm discovering that are basically applicable to anything that you do in life. But I'm going to give them to you as if I came up with them because that's what I do on a YouTube channel. So here we go. 3 things to help you be a better runner as an average runner. Number 1, you have to be consistent over time. Now, this is the exact opposite of what I've done over the last 6 months in regards to running. But when it comes to improving at anything, you have to put in the work over time in order to realize the results. So for me, over the last 6 months, I have barely run at all. And you can see that the results that I've posted, well, I haven't. That's the reason. But when I was younger, I wanted to play soccer in college. And the only way I was going to be able to do that is if I was putting in the work over time. So every day I was going out, I was juggling a ball, I was running, I was doing whatever I could to be the best that I could be at soccer. And I did it. I became a college soccer player because of the amount of work that I put in over a long period of time. The same goes for running or anything else that you want to do in life. You have to put in the work, and over time, the different stimuli that you are putting into your body are going to build on one another. And if you do it consistently over time without large gaps, then it builds and builds and builds and builds without having a drop down over a period of time where you're not doing something. So you just have to be consistent over time in order to realize the results. Number 2, as an average runner, you have to make sure that your goals and your priorities are in sync. So for me, over the last 6 months, running has been much less of a priority. And therefore, the goals that I had at the beginning of the year, well, they're not gonna happen because it wasn't made a priority. But if my goals and my priorities are in sync, then it's going to be much easier to be consistent over time. See how I went back to the first tip? And that's the thing, all of these tips kind of build on each other. So for me, my priorities over the last 6 months have not been on running. They've been on resting and actually on other projects that I've been trying to work on. Namely, I've been trying to learn a different language, which has taken quite a bit of time, as you might imagine. So if my priorities have not been placed on running, then I am obviously not going to see the results that I want to see in running. Specificity of training. Now, tip number 3 is very, very important because it's going to be different for every person. Tip number 3 is use what you've got. As an average runner, we don't have access to thousands of dollars worth of gear, or we don't have access to state-of-the-art equipment or things of that sort. But if you do, let me know. That's pretty cool. But the great thing about running is we really don't have to overcomplicate it. It doesn't take a lot of equipment. You need a pair of shoes and the right clothing to make sure you don't burn up or get too cold. So when I say use what you've got, I'm talking about time and resources. If you've got 20 minutes, use your 20 minutes. If you've got an hour, then use that hour. You don't have to run that whole hour. You can work on mobility and other things like that as well. Especially if you're average or a beginner and you can't fill an hour with running. But if we have our priorities in order and we know that consistency is important, then we know that we need to put in the work with the resources and the time that we have. And over time, if you run 20 minutes every day, you're probably going to improve. Now, of course, there's the whole idea of hitting a plateau at some point, and that's when we change things up a little bit. But in reality, it's all about being consistent. So there it is, guys. How to be a better runner as an average runner. Number 1, consistency over time. Number 2, goals and priorities, they must be in sync. And number 3, use what you've got in terms of time and resources. That's all I've got for today, guys. Head on out there, seek your elite. God bless, and I will see you next time.